the beginning, both seasoned data professionals that have been incorporating data for a while and those that are just getting started, I feel like have the same question about how do I find data? How do I vet it? How do I make sure I'm not wasting time? You know, we always hear this number, there's 2.5 quintillion bytes of data being created every day. We have all sorts of new entrants on the market, companies that have never sold into finance before, whether they're marketing analytics or e-commerce platforms. They've got 4 to 5 years of data. They're looking to monetize that data now. So it's great. There's an abundance of information, but it can certainly be overwhelming. So Chris, I'm going to throw this first one to you and just ask, how do you direct clients who are looking for data, trying not to waste time, and how do you, have them not be overwhelmed by that process?
Sure. Thanks, Christine. Great question. I think for myself, my biggest piece is to have a focus. That's number one. There's a lot of people who ask me, what's the coolest data set? What data set has the most alpha? And those are, respectfully rookie kind of questions. I think for myself, I'm always asking my clients which data sets and which key categories are best suited to fill blind spots in your investment process. And I can give a couple of examples on that, but I think that is a much better way to focus, whether you're a new firm or even an existing firm who might want to be beefing up in a certain area. So I'll give a couple of polar examples. A more traditional one could be ETF data. So if you had your risk team wanted to see what's my concentration of Apple across my whole portfolio, if you didn't have the ETF constituents, you wouldn't have any clue whether or not you had Apple as a stock or Apple in a tech ETF or something like that. So that's more of a risk compliance profile. You need ETF data. There are a dozen ETF firms on the market. There are 3 that I think are worth speaking to, right? So, and I can touch upon that later on. And second is, for example, a huge blind spot, which continues to be so, is all the social media data around Wall Street bets. So there's, once again, bunch of firms who are claiming to have information on it, a handful of firms who actually have a product that is useful. And that really goes on to my next question is, my next area is around hiring experts. You need people who have walked the walk before, whether they're somebody from an existing buy-side shop or my own pitch, a consulting firm like mine, people who have used all these data sets and gone through the pain of failing at, and this is something that Roberto can touch upon as well, of like failing and not being able to use certain data sets and where data sets have shortcomings. That's really the way to cut through the noise. So to sum up, it's first is have a focus on a couple of data sets within that sector. Don't try to boil the ocean. You don't need to. And next is to really hire experts. And when I mean experts, I mean people like, Elizabeth, Roberto, myself on the panel who have walked the walk. We're not these big new data Eagle Alpha type of enterprises that just have a big list, right? A list is not really, has no value if you don't have the context around it. And that's what people like myself can provide. So those are my 2 points on that.